Hey guys, welcome to the channel. This is part 2 of What If Mileena Was in Love with Naruto. You guys enjoyed this what if, then comment, like and subscribe. Let's go. Also the video goal is 10 likes, so let me know that you're interested in the series and you want the next part. Then go ahead and check out the other what ifs in the channel. Before we start, please do support for more awesome content. Don't forget to subscribe and leave. Also share the video with your friends and link in the description. So let's go. Call off the search. Reptile, you filthy traitorous beast. Mileena snarled at the Zaterran creature. Why are you here? Naruto asked the one now called Reptile. His eyes, showing that he was still in sage mode, bore into Reptile's slitted ones. I will say nothing. Reptile said defiantly. Good, Naruto told him. Ma always wanted a snakeskin purse. Naruto looked over his body and said, looks like you have just enough skin for it, too. What are you doing? Mileena asked him. Unless he talks, Naruto responded, I'm going to skin this little spy alive and, like I said, make a snakeskin purse. Naruto pulled out a kunai and held it up to Reptile's eye and said, last chance, lizard boy. Talk, or you will know what it feels like to be skinned alive. Reptile eyed Naruto carefully. Reptile didn't survive a war in several tournaments and not learn how to read people. Clearly, this, Naruto, whoever he was, he would stand behind what he said and literally skin him alive. To hell with whatever Kotal Khan said, he couldn't let his race die out because of a poor decision. I am a scout, Reptile finally said. No shit, Cassie said to him. We asked you what are you doing and why. I was sent by Kotal Khan to search for and possibly kill Mileena, he answered, looking at Naruto. How dare you? Mileena yelled out. You and the others betrayed me. Your fall was your own, Reptile countered. He was then hit in the face, hard. Whack! Reptile's face snapped to one side from the blow. That sage-powered hit Ria ally hurt. Reptile spit out a little blood and teeth. He growled at Naruto, who pushed Reptile's chin up with the tip of the kunai in his hand. Where is Kotal Khan now? Naruto asked calmly, although his eyes showed unrivaled fury, which looked even scarier now that they had a toad-like iris. Furious was beatable, furious and calm was not. Reptile had to be very careful. I will not betray my master's position, Reptile said. Naruto slashed diagonally across Reptile's chest, making a huge and deep gash that spilled blood profusely. You betrayed me, you pathetic little lizard. Mileena yelled out. She drew out her sei and walked forward towards Reptile, intent on killing him. Naruto held out his arm horizontally, effectively stopping her in her tracks. Reptile leaned forward, breathing hard. He was losing blood fast from the deep cut that he had just received, courtesy of Naruto. The sage punched Reptile in the face, breaking his jaw. He then turned around and performed a few hand signs and yelled out, Kai. The large wooden house he had created fell to pieces, dust and dirt flying everywhere, clouding everyone's vision for a few moments. Clearly, you have no idea who or what you are up against, Naruto told Reptile. He turned around and performed a few hand signs and yelled out with righteous fury, Sage Art, Giant Fireball Jutsu. He blew into his cupped hand and a huge fireball the size of a 5-story building formed and stayed in the spot it was formed in. Naruto had managed to control his chakra much better as well and had found that instead of launching any fireball right away, holding it in place for a few seconds dramatically increased the velocity of the jutsu. And that's what he was doing right now, holding the giant building-sized fireball right there, in front of everyone. Jackie, Cassie, Takeda, Kung Jin, Mileena, and especially Reptile, stood there wide-eyed and in total shock of what they were witnessing right now. Naruto performed a few more hand signs and thrust both hands forward, saying, Sage Art, Giant Rasengan. He formed the Giant Rasengan within the huge fireball. Now, it was a Rasengan that had a huge and incredibly dense fire coating on it. Naruto thrust his hands forward a little more, launching the fire-covered Rasengan at the remains of the wooden house and surrounding forest. The result was everything in front of them was completely burnt and obliterated. Smoke and dust covered the entire area. It was a few minutes before everyone was able to see clearly once again. Reptile's eyes were filled with fear and awe. He had no doubt that if this man fought his master would definitely not win, let alone survive. Naruto released the earth jutsu that bound Reptile and the Zaterran fell to the ground in a heap. He had lost a lot of blood to effectively fight back. You saw for yourself, Reptile, Naruto spoke to him, You just saw one of the very many things that I can do. Go to your master, Kotal Khan, and tell him to call off the search. I am a reasonable person, he has 3 hours to make a decision. If he does not comply, I will find you, and I will skin you alive. This is your one chance, understood? This is in exchange for your life. Fail, and we will resume where we left off. Why are you letting him go? Mileena yelled out in protest. He is going to give away our position. No he's not, Naruto told her calmly. And why not? Kung Jin asked Naruto. You gotta admit, Mileena does have a point. Why return Reptile to his master? Why give them a fighting chance? Don't forget, Naruto told him, no one has all the information yet. And besides, Naruto looked at the Zateran who was struggling to get up and said, he knows that if he fucks up, he will die, either by Kotal Khan's hand or by mine. He doesn't have a choice. And as far as our position, well, that's why we keep moving. Never stay in one spot. I already know where Kotal Khan is. Then why aren't we attacking him? Mileena protested. Enough. Naruto yelled at her. He pulled out his sword from his sheath on his back and pointed it right at her nose in an instant. Mileena was wide-eyed, not expecting that. What do you see, Mileena? Naruto asked her angrily. A sword, she said. Wrong. How many times do I have to tell you? Stop just looking at what's right in front of you. Damn, killing you would be so easy. Mileena stared at him angrily as he sheathed his sword. He looked again at Reptile and yelled out, why are you still here? Reptile stood up shakily and ran off back to his master's camp. Naruto turned around and began walking off. He stopped and looked behind him and told the rest of them, well. You coming or not? Cassie and her team looked at each other and shrugged. Seeing that he was their best chance at survival right now, they began trailing behind him. Mileena couldn't help but feel at least a little bad for angering Naruto like that. He was right, she had been stupid again, and he had told her several times to be more perceptive. She could understand why he was irritated. She would have been too. She soon followed behind Naruto as well as they traveled further along through the thick forest in the mountains. Kotal Khan, Reptile said, kneeling before his master, still wounded. We must call off the search for Mileena. Tilted his head a little at this strange behavior from one of his top generals, Kotal Khan said, and why is that, Reptile? Have you found her? I did, my lord, Reptile responded. She was accompanying the 4 from Earth Realm and the strange one that had rescued her. Where were they, and how come you were wounded? Was it from Mileena? Kotal Khan asked. He was concerned. Reptile never failed a mission, ever, no matter what it was. The fact that he had this time, and came back severely wounded, greatly concerned him indeed. No my lord, Reptile said. It was the one who had rescued her. He is called Naruto. He spared my life in return for me to give you this message. Reptile grit his reptilian teeth in pain, clutching his chest, still trying to stop the bleeding but to no avail. He had lost a lot of blood and was on the brink of death. He wants you to call off the search. For Mileena, Reptile barely managed to get out before he passed out. Kotal Khan wanted to get him medical attention before he gave his message, but Reptile was persistent on telling him what he had found out. Reluctantly, he had agreed. Now, he was close to losing Reptile. Summon a doctor, Kotal Khan said calmly, yet with absolute authority. And hurry. An Oshtek guard bowed slightly and left quickly. A few minutes later, the guard and 2 Oshtek doctors ran in with a stretcher and carefully picked up Reptile and placed him on the stretcher and left in a hurry to their makeshift hospital for the time being. Kotal Khan shook his head a little bit, feeling slightly dizzy. Devora walked up to him and said, "What did my emperor see?" Kotal Khan looked at her calmly and said, "A cub, grown to be a jaguar." He looked ahead, staring blankly and then called out to all of his guards in attendance and said, "Call off the search for Mileena." "What is my emperor doing?" Devora protested. "We need to find Devora." Reptile was severely wounded, Kotal Khan said to her. "He never fails any mission that he is given. He returned to us, and even so, he may not survive. It is clear that we are dealing with a foe who is not normal by any means. We must be careful and formulate a new plan. We must contact Earth Realm, see if they had sent this newcomer. The woman will have most likely contacted her general," Aaron Black said, leaning on the wall. He stepped forward and walked up to him and said, that's normally how things work with the Earth Realm military. If something goes wrong or changes, the higher-ups are notified immediately. I would advise contacting Earth Realm. At least for now, anyway. Kotal Khan said, holding his chin in thought. Perhaps you are correct. In that case, do you have any other ideas? Aaron. Devora. Kotal Khan believed that a united Outworld stood strong, which meant not making every decision on his own, hence why he had his advisors, Aaron Black, Devora, and Reptile. They were also his top generals for his armies. He also had Ermac, Farah, and Tor, but they were mainly his secondary generals. A chain of command was necessary for a successful kingdom. Pride was an enemy to a king, no matter where he was or what the title was, whether it be Khan, Cage, King, Lord, pride was the enemy. He had to realize that he could not make every decision wisely. He needed help sometimes. Now was one of those times. I'd say call off the search, at least the main part, Aaron Black said. Have the main forces back here, but send out recon patrols out to search for her, undercover. Search covertly. This one agrees with Black, Devora said. Calling off the search completely would be unwise. Perhaps you are right, Kotal Khan said. Very well. You too, Kotal Khan pointed at the two guards standing next to his throne and they stood to attention, go and summon Ermac. Inform him to find me immediately. Yes sir. The two guards said simultaneously and left. In a hurry. Kotal Khan walked towards his throne and sat down. He leaned to one side and held his chin with one hand and said, Naruto, who are you? Ellipsis. It was well past night time when Naruto finally made another wooden house for them, higher up in the mountains this time. It was much colder, and the wind was much more brutal. It was snowing a little, but was picking up quickly, showing signs of a snowstorm coming soon. They had walked inside and Naruto immediately made a large but contained fire with a fire jutsu. They all sat down around the fire as Naruto said, I'm going to go find us food. Wait here, I won't be long. Warm up and chat among yourselves, get to know each other. We'll be here for a while, there's a snowstorm coming in soon. Later. Naruto disappeared in a puff of smoke, gone a second later. I swear that's just like the stories you hear in cartoons and stuff, Jackie said aloud. What is? Takeda said. Ninjas disappearing like that, Jackie responded. Wielding magic, turning invisible, you know, all that magical stuff. With the reveal of Outworld and other realms, Kung Jin said, are you really that surprised? Excuse me, but did you not see that big-ass fireball he shot out from his hands? Jackie said to Jin. Yeah I did, Jin said to her. But we see stuff like that all the time, don't we Takeda? Shut up Jin, Takeda said to him. Stop letting your pride get in the way and just admit the damn truth, we all know he would beat us in a fight. He would kill you all, Mileena said abruptly. Ah, so the former Empress talks at last, Cassie said to her. Watch your tongue, Earth Realmer, Mileena said back. Wow, you look dangerous, Cassie said sarcastically. And pretty, like you, Mileena said with just as much sarcasm. Your face could use a boot print, Cassie retorted. Okay that's enough from you two, Jackie said just in time. Mileena was about to get up and impale the woman. Jackie looked at her friend and told her, you need to chill out. Remember what? What was his name again? Naruto, Mileena said, not looking at anyone. Yeah, Naruto, Jackie continued. He said for us to get along. I don't know about the rest of you, but I could also tell we are going to be snowed in big time, so get used to seeing each other's faces for a little while. Easy for you to say, Jin said. You guys don't have to deal with a bunch of incompetent people who have no idea what the hell they're doing. Shut up Jin, Cassie said. What? Jin said to her. It's not our fault we have a teammate who had a revenant for a dad. Asshole, Jackie said in anger. Suddenly, Jin felt something hook onto the back of his outfit and become taut. Next thing he knew, he went up, all the way to the roof, and Naruto came down at the same time. Naruto had hooked some ninja wire onto the back of Jin's shirt and jumped down. As he went down, Naruto's weight pulled Jin up. Naruto tied the other end of his ninja wire through the loop of one of his kunai and stuck it in the wooden floor. Jin, outraged, yelled out, Hey! Let me down you! Shut up, Naruto said, irritated at him, or I'll leave you there the whole night. Understood. Jin, although reluctantly, nodded. Good, now then, Naruto sat down in Jin's place and said to everyone, sorry about that little interruption, but I won't have anyone disrespecting someone's parents unless they deserve it. From Jackie's reaction, her father didn't deserve that. Wait a minute, Cassie said to him, weren't you out getting food for us? Yeah, about that, Naruto said, I already have some ready to go. I was hiding on the ceiling, watching you guys, seeing how this would play out. So far, it's not as bad as it thought it would be, so that's good. You lied to us, Jackie said to him. Not cool. I don't know any of you, Naruto said. Of course I lied. Deception is a ninja's greatest weapon. I simply used it. Now, onto the real deal. Naruto pulled out a storage scroll and unfurled it. He said, Kai, and eat. Fruits, vegetables, and some loaves of bread appeared before them all. Well, dig in, Naruto announced to them all. He pulled out a kunai and cut the meat evenly and gave some to them all, saving Jin's share to the side. Hey, Jin announced none too politely. Let me down. Say it correctly, Naruto said as he pulled down his mask and bit into an apple. Jin shut his eyes hard and breathed in a deep breath and said calmly, can you please let me down? Sure, Naruto said. He threw a kunai behind him, cutting the ninja wire that was tied onto the kunai that was stuck in the floor. The wire cut, Jin fell down in a heap onto the floor a few feet behind them all, rubbing his back and said, ow. What the hell man? Naruto said to him without turning around, you really need to learn some proper manners, Jin. Otherwise, when the time comes for your team to help you, and trust me, it will come, they won't be there. Everything you give out is returned. Make sure you give out the right stuff, understand? Jin stopped and soaked in what Naruto had just told him. He nodded and sat with the rest of the group and said to Naruto, hey, Naruto, thanks for the food. Don't worry about it, Naruto replied. Okay, I'm sorry, Jackie said to him, but how the hell did you just get all this food from a piece of paper? Naruto looked at her and smiled. Magic. Just then, a black and purplish whirlwind shape appeared behind them, about 10 feet away. The Earth Realmers and Mileena got up and backed away a little, ready for a fight. From the portal, Sasuke, Ino, Hinata, Shikamaru, and Kiba jumped out along with the 6th Hokage, Kakashi himself. Well, it's about damn time, Naruto said to them. Getting caught up. Hey there Naruto, Kakashi said with his eye smile. He wore his Anbu outfit, without the mask, just in case he needed to go into a huge battle. After all, they had no idea if they were going into a huge war or not. It's always to be prepared for the worst. It's good to see you again. Hey there Kakashi-sensei, Naruto greeted. He looked at Kiba, Sasuke, Shikamaru, Ino, and Hinata. Hey guys, you came too. Of course we did Naruto, Kiba said proudly. He was happy to be able to help find his friend. You just kinda disappeared without a trace when you went through that portal. Sasuke boy here opened portal after portal to try and find your chakra signature. It was a combination effort of his portals, Ino's mind tricks, and Hinata's Byakugan that finally located you here. My nose helped too, of course. No matter how many baths or showers you take, you always stink of toads and ramen. You smell terrible man. Ha 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 ha, good one Kiba, Naruto laughed. Naruto looked at Sasuke and held out his fist and said to him, thanks for not giving up on me. There's not many people in that damn village that I can count on. I'm glad you're one of them. Sasuke smiled as he bumped fists with his friendly toad sage. Sorry about that little throw, Dobi, Sasuke told him. Don't even worry about it, Naruto told him. He pointed back at the Earth Realm team and Mileena and told them, just so you know Kakashi-sensei, these guys could use our help. In short, there's a realm civil war or something like that going on here. We are in a place called Outworld. What is Outworld? Ino asked Naruto. Shikamaru answered her, saying, according to the archives in the Konoha library, the scrolls written by the Shadaime and Nadaime, explain that this Outworld is one of several realms, or dimensions I guess. We are in an alternate dimension. Ino asked, freaked out. You fought in the 4th Great Ninja War, and you're worried about being in another dimension. Kiba asked with a deadpanned look on his face. We were still in our world, Baka. Ino exclaimed loudly, shaking her fist at Kiba. We have absolutely no idea where we are now. How are we supposed to operate under these conditions? Be quiet Ino, Shikamaru told her. Remember, we have no problem getting back now. Sasuke has the Rinnegan, so we don't have the problem with finding home. Relax. Hinata wrapped a hand around her husband's arm and asked him, Kiba-kun, we got Naruto now, so can we get back home now? Hang on Hinata, Kiba told her. Hey Naruto, didn't you say that those guys could use our help? We're here now, so what's the deal? Well, like I said, Naruto began, the woman with the black hair over there in the pink armor, her name is Mileena. She was the ruler of the land here but was unfairly and wrongfully overthrown. We need to restore her back to her throne. So, Kakashi said, we need to restore balance in another realm under an unofficial mission. And I can't even read my book. Juiced great. That's not all though, Naruto continued. The current ruler, or false ruler if that's what you wanna call him, is Kotal Khan. Honestly, he doesn't seem like a bad guy, more neutral than anything. From what I can tell from my recon so far, is that he just wants this realm to grow and prosper. He saw that Mileena was doing a crap job, so he forcibly took over. Now, here we are. And, these four here, they need to get back to Earth Realm. I already called my mother, General Blade, Cassie said, stepping forward. She told us that we can't go back until the mission is complete. Naruto turned back to her and said, fuck what she said to you. She left you out to dry in a severely hostile environment. Just wait until I get my hands on her. You can't beat my mom, Cassie said to him. Only 3 people beat her, my dad has been able to do that, and Raiden and Uncle Jax. That's it. Have you already forgotten what I did earlier? Naruto asked her. Cassie remembered Naruto's fire-covered giant Rasengan and stepped back a little, saying, okay, you might be Umber 4 then. Mileena, come here for a sec, Naruto said to the Empress. She slowly walked around the small bonfire that Naruto had made earlier and stood beside him. He told her, well, come on now, stick out your hand, introduce yourself. Mileena just looked at him with a blank stare and then looked at the newcomers. She then, swallowing her pride, stuck her hand and said to them, my name is Mileena, rightful heiress to the throne of Outworld. I see you are friends of Naruto's, I am pleased to meet you all. Kakashi walked forward and shook her hand, giving her his famous eye smile, saying, Kakashi Hatake, 6th Hokage of Konohagakure no Sato, and personal sensei to Naruto. Pleased to meet you. Mileena nodded as she let go of his hand. She looked at the others and then turned back to Naruto and asked him, now that your friends have found you, do you plan on returning to your home world? Maybe, Naruto answered, but not until I at least have you back on your throne. Official mission or not, it's my personal mission, and I will get it done. Mileena couldn't help but smile behind her mask. She reached down and grabbed his hand, holding it in both of hers and said to him, thank you, Naruto Uzumaki. Looking at the way this, Mileena, chick was holding Naruto's hand, she said to her, excuse me, Mileena. Hey, are in Naruto together. What exactly do you mean by that? Mileena asked her. She means are you and Naruto fucking yet, Kiba said to her. Smirking. Hinata and Ino both had the decency to blush a little bit, while Ino nodded and said, well, yeah, I guess, but I really meant dating, you baka. Mileena smirked behind her mask and said to them, in a manner of speaking, yes. Why do you ask? Ino got a heated look on her face and pointed an accusing finger in Melina's face and said to her loudly, then you better be nice to him, you hear me? This man has been through way more than you know, and he doesn't deserve anyone who isn't the best, you understand? And if you do hurt him, I swear to God I will fry your fucking brain, you understand me girl? Mileena let go of Naruto's hand and pulled out her sei, flipping them a few times before she held them threateningly and said to Ino, how dare you, if you ever talk to me like that again, friend of Naruto's or not, I will kill you. Do you understand? That's enough, Mileena, Naruto intervened. I appreciate the gesture, Ino, really I do. Thank you for showing me that you care. However, I know Mileena won't do that sort of thing. At least, not if she wants me to pleasure her again, he. Mileena hit Naruto in the chest and said to him, Naruto. How dare you say that in front of them? It's not like you don't enjoy it, Naruto teased her further. Anyways, Kakashi-sensei, I'm going to help Mileena with her regaining her throne. Requesting permission for you guys to aid me in doing so. Kakashi nodded. Granted Naruto. Tsunade is in my place right now while I'm on the active search party. Kakashi turned around to face Sasuke, Shikamaru, Kiba, Ino, and Hinata and told them, listen up. I, Kakashi Hatake, 6th Hokage of Konoha, hereby approve this mission. We are to aid Naruto in any way possible in helping mileena regain her throne and restoring balance to Outworld. Use of lethal force is up to your discretion, unless otherwise stated by Naruto. He has been here longer, therefore, he is the captain of this team, regardless of my status as Hokage. Here, ranks do not matter, our lives do. As it stands, this is an S-rank mission, with a possible upgrade to an SS rank. Are there any questions? Silence was returned to him. He nodded, then turned to Naruto and told him, okay Naruto, you're in command during this little escapade. Naruto nodded and said to them all, okay guys, here's the deal, basically we need to, if possible talk to Kotal Khan and convince him to relinquish his position on the throne and return it to mileena. Use of force is authorized, but only if we are attacked first. Secondly, we need to aid Cassie's team, they were basically abandoned when she called for help, so they have basically no supplies. For tonight, we're gonna rest up. Kotal Khan had a search party going on earlier today, but I threatened one of his generals or whatever they are, so hopefully they will call it off, but I don't count on it. If he is really adamant about catching mileena, then he will probably at least have an undercover search or something like that, so we need to keep moving. I want to avoid unnecessary combat if possible, there are a lot of civilians out there. Are there any questions guys? Shikamaru said, do you know where his base of operations is Naruto? Yes, Naruto responded. It's about 7 to 8 miles east of here. At our speed we could be there in about 30 minutes, 2 hours at normal speed. Anything else? Ino asked him, do you know what kind of abilities he or his soldiers have? I'm not entirely sure, Naruto told her, but maybe mileena can help us out with that. Mileena said to them all, Kotal Khan wields powers granted by the sun, namely fire. He uses it more of like a forceful blast than to burn. He has a few generals as well. Reptile, whom you've met, Naruto, specializes in spying and quick kills, with the ability to spit out acid and become invisible. We can sense chakra and energy signatures, Sasuke told her, and Hinata here, with her Byakugan, can see anything. He cannot hide from us, even at his best. Mileena nodded and continued. Another one of his generals is called Ermac. Originally created by my father, he is a warrior made of thousands upon thousands of souls, collected into one being. Ermac uses telekinetic energy and forces people around or objects as well. He is more of a mid to long-ranged fighter than anything else. He is very dangerous, be wary of him. Naruto said to her, understood, anything else? Yes. There is also a pair, Farah and Tor. Tor is a large beast of a man, incredibly strong, but also incredibly stupid. Farah is like a little girl who rides on top of him and guides him. Very strong, but like I said, very stupid. How strong are we talking here? Kiba asked mileena. Tor can easily rip a person in half, mileena told him straight-faced. Kiba looked wary and said, yeah, let's watch out for him too. Defeating someone like that is easy, Naruto said to them all. You just have to outwit them and hit them first. If you do that, you're guaranteed to win. Mileena continued, saying, there is also Eren Black. He is a mercenary from Earth Realm. He uses weapons much like Cassie's, guns, I think they're called. Cassie said, hey, is that the guy with the stupid-looking mask and the revolvers? Mileena turned to her and said, yes. The one with the stupid-looking mask. He is also a long-ranged fighter. There is also Devora, an insect-like fool of a woman who almost killed me, before Naruto saved me. Ah, so that's her name, Naruto said to himself. Yeah, that ugly thing just needs to die. Nothing that vile should be allowed to exist. Mileena went on, saying, and on top of all of them, he has hundreds of thousands of his own personal Oshtek soldiers under his command. Don't worry about those guys, Naruto told her. If they really become a problem, I can make my own army with my shadow clones. So far, that is all I know as far as their abilities, mileena told them. Kakashi nodded his head and said, that's a good start, knowing who they are and what they can do. Now, we know who can fight who to negate their effectiveness. From what you've told us about this Kotal Khan, Naruto, he sounds like a reasonable man. Do you think so, mileena? Absolutely not. Mileena fumed angrily. That Ushtek fool stole my throne. He will. Mileena, Naruto stated firmly. She looked at him and he looked at her with a stern glare. She calmed down and thought to herself, remember Mileena, look underneath the underneath. Stop looking at only what's right in front of you, look beyond. Honestly, I am not sure, she told Kakashi. I have only seen him as the one who wrongfully stole my throne and nothing else. Kakashi told her, don't worry about it, we'll fix that. What else do you have for us, Naruto? That's about it for now, Naruto told him. Other than the Rakan, I have nothing else to say, hang on a second. He looked around cautiously, as if he was looking for something. Sasuke and Kakashi realized it too, and they also were getting in a defensive stance. They knew they were being watched. Suddenly, the roof of the entire house was engulfed in a large green energy, cracked and splintered, then ripped off completely with the force of a strong tornado. Naruto, Sasuke, Kakashi, Shikamaru, Kiba, Ino, Hinata, Mileena, Cassie, Jackie, Kung Jin, and Takeda all looked up to see Ermac floating down towards them, levitating in the air with his green energy surrounding him. His slow descent finally found him on the floor of the wooden jutsu-created house. No longer with a roof, courtesy of Ermac. The cold winds and some snow blew in from the top as Ermac said to them, Mileena, you will come with us to Kotal Khan. Naruto stood in front of her protectively and pulled out a kunai and said to Ermac, listen up, we don't wanna fight you or anyone else, we want to talk to Kotal Khan, but you are not taking Mileena away, understand? Ermac stepped forward, his hood slightly covering his face, his green eyes having an eerie glow to them. You are the one who took Mileena away from her execution. You are strong. However, your abilities pale before us. Relinquish Mileena, and none shall be harmed. You just don't listen to Ya. Naruto told Ermac. I'll say it simply this time. Mileena's staying with me, whether you like it or not. We are many, you are but one, we will destroy you, Ermac said as he got ready to fight. Naruto threw his kunai straight at Ermac's face. Ermac held up his hand and the kunai stopped an inch in front of his hand, surrounded by green energy. Ermac turned it around and launched it back at Naruto. The blade hit Naruto square in the throat. Naruto! Mileena yelled out. Naruto fell to his knees, clutching at his throat, then fell face first onto the floor. We warned you, Ermac said as he walked forward. He stopped right in front of the downed ninja. Ermac looked up at Mileena and Sasuke and the others. Ermac saw that Sasuke was just smiling at him. Why are you smiling? Ermac asked Sasuke. I'm smiling because you're fighting a hopeless battle against my friend, Sasuke answered him. Ermac was a little irked at Sasuke's attitude. I just killed your friend, or did you not just see? Look again, Sasuke told him. Ermac did so, looking at the dead ninja on the floor. It was then that he noticed something. There was no blood on the floor. It was then that the dead ninja puffed into smoke. What? Ermac said aloud. Rasengan. Ermac was suddenly hit with such an excruciatingly painful ball of chakra right in the center of his back. AAARRRRRGGGHH. Ermac flew into the other side of the wooden house, splintering the wall and falling to the ground. Naruto walked up to him, his black mask on, scarf flowing in the air from the cold wind and snow, and his eyes, now having a toad-like iris in them, held absolute fury. You attack me and my friends, Naruto said slowly. I even offer you a way out really, and yet you still attack. You try to kill me. You're in over your head, dumbass. Get up and give me what you've got. Ermac got up and snarled. He clapped his hands twice. The wall to the other side suddenly burst apart, Farah and Tor coming through like a wrecking ball. Hey Vitama. Farah called out. Ha ha ha, let's play Tor. RRRRUUUGGHHHH. Tor and Farah suddenly flew back out of the hole that they had made in the house, courtesy of a sage-powered fist in the chest from Naruto. He looked back at Ermac, performing a few hand signs and then held them out. A Rasengan the size of a large beach ball began to form. Naruto looked directly in Ermac's eerie green eyes and said to him, your turn. Service restored. Naruto held his hands out straight, palms facing Ermac, the beach ball-sized Rasengan right in front of him, ready to be launched at its intended target. Your turn, Naruto told Ermac. Fire style, flame enhancement. A blistering hot fire surrounded the Rasengan, ready to incinerate and pulverize anything in its way. Ermac saw this and teleported to Naruto's side and tried to hit him in the face. A second before his fist connected with Naruto's jaw, Naruto, along with his beach ball-sized, fire-covered Rasengan, disappeared. And then reappeared a moment later, directly above Ermac's head. Rasengan. Ermac dodged the attack, just in time as Naruto shoved the jutsu in the floor of the wooden house, wooden shards covered in fire going everywhere. The fire quickly spread throughout the house, catching it on fire as well. Luckily, the roof was gone, courtesy of Ermac. The ninjas jumped out of the roof entrance while the Earth Realm team and Mileena booked it out of the front door. By this time, Farah and Tor were running back up to them all, clearly pretty damn pissed off. "You here make trouble, skinny." Farah yelled out at Naruto at the top of her little lungs. "RRRNNNNN, trouble make you." Killed Tor. RRAAAARRGGHHHH. Tor, with Farah riding on his back, charged once again at Naruto from behind, seeing red. Almighty push. Tor flew back once again, blown back with an incredible and yet invisible force. He looked up and saw Sasuke, holding up one hand directed at them. Then, Kakashi landed in front of Sasuke, still in his Anbu outfit, and very quickly performed a few hand signs, and lightning appeared in his hand. He charged directly at Tor, a long trail of lightning behind him. Lightning blade. Kakashi yelled at Tor. Tor held up a protective arm over his chest as the lightning jutsu pierced his arm clean through, Kakashi's arm getting stuck in the process. Tor lifted up his arm, lifting the stuck Kakashi as well. Tor brought back a massive fist, intending on crushing the white-haired man. Before he could do so, Kakashi planted both feet on the beast's arm and pushed himself off, freeing his arm. As he pushed off of Tor's arm, Kakashi backflipped in the air and flew a kunai, and attached to it, an explosive tag. The kunai buried itself in Tor's arm and exploded, destroying his arm. Tor howled in pain, waving around his bloody stump. Sasuke jumped above Kakashi and, on his descent, unsheathed his sword, and falling behind Tor, cut him clean in half from Tor's head to his pelvis. Sasuke stepped back, flicked the blood off of his blade, spun it around, and sheathed his sword. Tor slowly fell apart, the two sides of his corpse crumbling into two bloody heaps on the ground. "Tor!" Farah cried out. She started to run to her partner, going as fast as her small frame allowed her. "I don't think so," Kiba yelled out, arriving on the scene. "Akamaru would have fun playing with you." Summoning jutsu. Kiba had found out a way to keep his partner out of unnecessary harm, a summoning contract between him and his partner. It was also easier for them to travel as well. And, sometimes, Akamaru was too damn tired sometimes to do anything. Soon, his mother had helped him figure this out. A puff of smoke later, the huge white feral-looking dog was in front of his master as Kiba said to him, "Look at that little midget there, boy. She tried to kill us. She's your chew toy now, buddy." Akamaru grinned, his sharp teeth shining. He growled, lowered his body, and with the speed of a cheetah, pounced and ran towards his target and new toy, Farah. Farah looked to her side and saw something large and white coming at her incredibly fast. Knowing she was too slow, she stopped and decided to deal with whatever it was. She soon discovered that she made a grave mistake when a large set of jaws clamped around her neck as she was football tackled to the ground. Akamaru clamped down on the small girl's neck as hard as possible. He was so powerful, she so small, that one move killed her instantly, her spine snapped. He tossed her around violently, literally like a chew toy, blood flying everywhere. Akamaru clawed at her dead corpse, intent on making sure that she was definitely dead. He placed a firm paw on top of her chest, forcing her body down as he clamped his jaws over her head and pulled up, hard. The result? A sickening sound was heard as head, spine still attached, was separated from the body. Akamaru flung the separated head off to the side, sat on his haunches, and howled to the moon, announcing his victory. About 100 yards away, Naruto was in the middle of a heated battle with the construct of sorcery, Ermac. Shadow Clone Jutsu. Naruto yelled, creating 50 shadow clones, all of them in their black outfits and red scarves and swords on their backs, charging at Ermac. Several of them threw kunai at him, only for them to be tossed to the side like toys, courtesy of Ermac's ability. 10 Narutos jumped up high in the air, coming down on him quickly, intending on stomping the man into the ground. Ermac raised one hand, it glowing brightly with his green energy. Suddenly all 10 Narutos that were high in the air froze, encased in the same green energy, and Ermac threw his hand down, hard. All 10 clones hit the ground with just as much force, if not more. The ground cracked, and the clones simultaneously poofed into clouds of smoke. The remaining clones continued to charge at him, continuing to throw kunai and shuriken at Ermac, attempting to distract him. It didn't work on a seasoned warrior like Ermac as it would have others. He swatted them away like flies, quite annoyed. "We are many, you are but a few," Ermac said, noting Naruto's ability to make copies of himself. "It does not matter how many of yourself you create, you are no match for the might of Shao Kahn's creation, Ermac." Ermac shot his hand forth, a huge green ball of energy flying at Naruto at a blazing speed. Naruto wasn't expecting this, and he tried to dodge it just in time by jumping to the side, but the ball hit one of his legs as he jumped. The force of the hit caused his body to flip around in the air several times before he actually hit the ground. Sitting up a little, he winced as he tried to stand up. "My leg feels like it was hit with a tree," Naruto muttered. "I can't let him hit me with that again, or it's over." Naruto made some more clones to provide as a distraction. He himself puffed into smoke, disappearing from view. "This pointless trick again," Ermac commented as he swatted the kunai and shuriken to the side again and again. He grabbed one clone by the throat and held it up saying, "And here I was, being cautious because Kotal Khan said you were dangerous. You just got lucky. Reptile always was weak. We are strong. We are Ermac. We will break you." The clone then started laughing a little and said, "Is that so? Well, at least my friend Hinata will break you first." "Who?" Ermac said. The real Naruto appeared directly behind Ermac and placed a paper tag on the back of Ermac and quickly drew a small pattern on it. Ermac crushed the clone's throat, it yelling out in pain before it dissipated into smoke. He then turned around and tried to hit Naruto in the jaw, but Naruto did a series of backflips away from the man, stopped, and capped his hands together and set out Ood, Fuin. Ermac felt a strange energy wrap around inside of him, seemingly trapping the very energy itself, thus, disabling his use of his telekinetic powers. It also forced his arms to go to his sides, completely outstretched as well as his legs, as if he was getting ready to do jumping jacks. "You fool," Ermac said to Naruto, "do you really think that this alone will stop me?" "No," Naruto said to him, "that's why I brought back up. Now, Hinata." "Hi." Hinata appeared behind Ermac via Shunshin, Byakugan already activated. With Ermac immobilized, he was a sitting duck, just waiting for his points to be closed out. "You are within my field of divination," Hinata said behind him. 8 trigrams, 128 palms. Hinata rushed forward, snake-like hands ready to strike with a vengeance. Ermac felt his entire constructed body suffer extreme pain on a more internal level as he felt each one of his pressure points shut down, also further disabling his use of his powers. 2 palms, 4 palms, 8 palms, 16 palms, 32 palms, 64 palms, 8 trigrams, 128 palms. Hinata had hit each and every point in Ermac's body from behind multiple times. Ermac spit out a copious amount of blood from his mouth, his entire body, every inch of it both inside and out, in extreme severe pain. His body involuntarily shook with agony. However, the seal that Naruto had placed on him still trapped his body in that jumping jacks position. Ermac looked up at Ermac and told him, "I wasn't doing my best against you, Ermac," Naruto told him. "I was setting you up for this. I can't question you if you're dead. You will provide me with answers, or you will suffer." Ino slowly walked up to Ermac, finally catching up to Hinata and Naruto. "Yes, Naruto," Ino said in response to her summons. "I want you to search this man's mind," Naruto told her. "See what you can find. He may be a tough nut to crack, so be careful." "Hi, Naruto," Ino nodded. She walked up and placed her hand onto Ermac's forehead and closed her eyes and focused her energy onto her target's conscious and memories. The second she did that though, she shot her hand back and grabbed her own head in severe pain, screaming a little, shouting out, "So many minds. So many memories. So many souls." She threw a death glare at Ermac and said to him, "What the fuck are you?" Ermac could only smirk at Ino's feeble attempt to read his mind. "We are many. We are many, you are but one, blah motherfucking blah, Naruto said, cutting him off. Listen, Ermac bud, I really don't give a damn how many of you there are in that little fake ass head of yours, but you just hurt my friend. Naruto brought a kunai out and stabbed Ermac's foot, staking it into the ground. Ermac cried out in pain. Now, you will tell me what I want to know, or, Naruto pulled out another kunai and said, we can play pin the cushion all night long and make the fat lady sing. It's your choice. Tor. Ermac yelled out. Farah, Kakashi, Kiba, Sasuke, and Akamaru walked up to the rest of the group, carrying the two halves of the head of Tor, and the head and still attached spine of Farah. They threw the two severed body parts at Ermac's feet and Kakashi said to him, trust me, their ends were not quick nor were they painless. It is in your best interest to give us the information we want to know. We will not betray RAAARRRGGHHHH. Ermac cried out in pain as Naruto staked Ermac's other foot. Ermac glared out Naruto with hate and Naruto said to him, what? Did you think that I was joking when I said we would play pin the cushion? Here, let me reiterate that for you. Naruto withdrew his sword from the sheath on his back and stabbed Ermac's leg. Ermac once again cried out in pain as Naruto pulled his blade out, flicked the blood off, and sheathed it back in its case on his back. Now, I think I made myself clear that time. Next time though, a blade is going through your gut. Now, tell me what I want to know. Ermac, realizing he had no choice if he wanted to survive, nodded his head. No, tell me what I want to know, Mileena said as she walked around the group to face Ermac. She brought out her two sei, spun them around, and pointed one of the tips a millimeter from one of Ermac's eyes and said to him, why did you betray me? Ermac didn't say anything for a minute but then said to her, because you stowed away from your father's goals and more towards your own. That is preposterous. Mileena yelled out. Is it? Ermac said to her. Your father, Shao Kahn, ruled Outworld. You, Mileena, wanted to rule. I am faithful to Outworld and will serve whoever has the best interests of Outworld at heart, which you do not. Mileena froze in place, taking in what she was just told. She looked away slightly, unable to defend herself from what Ermac had just said. And honestly, it made perfect sense. I have recently changed, Mileena told him. Thanks to Naruto, I can now see clearly. I wish to rule Outworld and perfect it, to protect it and its people, not to just simply rule it to be called a ruler of something. I have seen the pain our citizens suffer from, and I wish to rectify it. However, I cannot unless I am Empress once again. We do not trust you, Ermac told her immediately. How do we know that this is not some trick to get us to serve you once again? Think whatever you will, Mileena told him. But I know that I have changed, and I seek now to change Outworld for the better. You, Ermac, with or without your help, will see that happen. Feeling the effects of Hinata's attack begin to wear off slightly, he looked at Naruto and asked him, we wish to look into her mind. She has fallen from her father's way before, we wish to see for ourselves if she is being truthful or not. Naruto thought about it for a long second. What should I do, Kurama? Think about it, Kit, if this works out, you will have another very powerful ally on your side. Hopefully, this does not come down to a fight in the end, but either way he will prove that useful. I say let him do it. Obviously, it doesn't hurt to take precautions. Understood. Thanks, buddy. Naruto created 10 clones that surrounded Ermac. Each one of them pulled out a ceiling tag and each one drew a similar bit different pattern on it. Then, one by one, each clone placed a tag on each of his limbs, the back of his head, chest, and back. Once all tags were placed, Naruto told Ermac, I am going to release the restricting seal. However, Naruto pointed at the remaining tags on various parts of his body. If I so much as smell you going to harm Mileena in any way at all, I will activate these tags. Each one will seal away whatever body part they are connected to. In other words, you will literally be ripped apart. Is that understood? For once a little fearful, Ermac nodded his understanding. He had encountered many foes before, but never as dangerous as Naruto or these others that were with him. Not even the Earth Realm team of Cassie, Takeda, Jackie and Kung Jin came close to their prowess and ruthlessness in battle. He could honestly say that he had finally encountered a real ninja. Naruto brought up a hand in the ram sign and said, Kai. The restricting seal pattern faded and disappeared, and the actual tag itself fell off of Ermac's back and slowly drifted to the ground. The other tags were still armed and ready to be activated though. Ermac brought up one hand and lightly placed it upon Mileena's forehead and began reading her thoughts. Ermac was thoroughly surprised. He had seen all of the events since Mileena's initial rescue by Naruto himself. He had seen the trek to the forest, the actual house created, the conversations they had, the lecture Naruto had given her, the love session they had, the bonding they had made, everything up until this very moment. He lowered his hand slowly, staring at Mileena. He then looked at Naruto, and slowly looked at everyone else. He then looked back at Mileena and said to her, "We will serve the new Empress of Outworld." He then knelt upon the ground, bowing his head to Mileena, Khanum of Outworld. Ellipsis. Good work, Devora, a deep voice said. You have carried out your work perfectly. Did they suspect you at all? No, Devora replied to the voice. Kotal Khan trusts this one completely. Excellent, the voice said back to her. Bring the amulet to me as soon as possible. The inevitable return of our Lord is near. This one lives to serve Lord Shinnok, Devora said to the voice, bowing. As do I, the voice said to her. Meet me at the Earth Realm defenses in 7 days. Until then, do your normal activities with Kotal Khan. Yes, Quan Kai, Devora said as the green and ghost-like apparition dissipated into thin air. Devora turned around and walked back to her Kotal Khan's camp, a smile on her face. Revelations. Rise, Ermac, Mileena told him. Ermac rose to his feet and before he could say anything, Mileena said to him, Ermac, before anything else is said or done, know this, I fully intend to make Naruto my mate, thus, he will also rule Outworld by my side. Kakashi, Sasuke, Kiba, Akamaru, Shikamaru, Ino, Hinata, and even the Earth Realm team were shocked to hear this. Naruto had his suspicions, but this just confirmed it. However, he did not let his emotions show. He wasn't really what to expect from the now unofficially restored Khanum. What? Ino yelled out. She, on the other hand, had no problem at all saying what she was feeling out loud. Or so loud that she could wake the dead. What do you mean, he's going to help rule Outworld, or whatever the hell this place is? He belongs in Konoha. Do you really expect him to just up and leave his home? I have my ways to convince him, Mileena said to Ino, slowly gliding a hand across Naruto's chest. Get your hands off of him. Hinata said sternly, her grip on her husband's arm tightening. Why should I? Mileena said to her, glaring at her. It looks like you have already been claimed by the man working with the White Wolf. Who are to tell me to back off? Hinata stammered out. Then she looked back up and argued out to Mileena, he can do better than you. With who, I wonder? Mileena said. With you, perhaps. Hinata had the common decency to blush a little. She may have gotten over her obsessive feelings for Naruto, but that didn't mean that she still didn't care for him deeply. It looks as if you wish you were with him, Mileena said, smirking behind her mask. I am pleased to inform you that Naruto and I have already laid together, just in case you didn't know. Everyone except for Ermac was shocked to hear this. Hinata and Ino, especially. Even though Ino was now married to Sai and Hinata to Kiba, they still had their blonde friend's interests at heart. They felt that their friend was losing his way. Especially Ino, since she had read his mind and saw everything. At least from a third-person view anyway. How could you do that, Naruto? Ino yelled at Naruto. I tried to help you out that one day during our session, to get you to show some sort of emotion or reaction, or anything, really. And you just act like I wasn't even there. What the fuck, Naruto? Naruto. Hinata asked softly. Did you really sleep with Mileena? Why? Naruto asked suddenly. Huh? Ino said smartly. What do you mean, Naruto? Hinata scared him. Why do you care so much now? Naruto asked them. He then turned and began to walk away from the group. We have always cared, Naruto. Ino yelled out to him as he continued to walk away. Naruto whipped around, furious. Bullshit, he yelled out to her. He then walked to her and pointed at her directly in the face. You wanna talk about that fucking day you tried to so-called help me, Ino? Let's go over the facts, shall we? He held up one finger and said to her, 1. You saw my memories. And every single one of them, you had an opportunity to play a part in at least stepping in to ease the pain, or stop whatever was happening completely. 2. Not only did you ignore me. Every single time, just like Sakura did, you also hurt me. Do you know how many times you or Sakura had knocked me from the door to the classroom just to get to your precious Sasuke first? Ino looked taken aback by his sudden outburst. She could only dumbly shake her head. The Earth Realm team, Mac, and Mileena could only watch as the events unfolded right in front of them. How many days did we attend the academy, Ino? Naruto asked her. I don't know. We went for about 6 years, Naruto. What does that have to do with? Imagine every day, you would get slammed against the wall by you and your fucking friend or rival or what the fuck ever, Ino. Naruto yelled at her again. Once or twice, no big deal, but over 600 fucking times. And you know what? How many times do you think I came to class fresh out of the hospital, just barely done recovering from the assaults from the villagers? How many times did I still have a broken bone or two, or was still extremely fucking sore from the pain? Or still hungry as hell because I had no food in my entire fucking house? Or was very fucking pissed off because of the fucking village? Do you have any idea what it's like to be shunned, ignored, beaten, or all three, by the very people you're sworn to protect? Ino could only shake her head. And that, Ino, was just the times you and or Sakura knocked me into the wall at the academy. There have been several times in which you or Sakura hit me for stupid shit, really fucking hard. Sent me to the hospital. You also put me down, you bullied me, you made fun of me. You and just about everyone else would always take an opportunity to put me down, either physically, emotionally, mentally, or even all fucking three. So I ask you now, Ino, what the fuck is wrong with me? You, and everyone else in that damned, worthless village. And you, Hinata, you are no better. Naruto lashed out at her. Hinata was shocked. She had never done anything to him. What, you think you never did anything, Hinata? Naruto yelled at her. But I didn't. Bullshit. Naruto yelled again. You really think I didn't know you were stalking me that whole time? I always felt some presence near me just about everywhere I went, but when I finally found out it was you, I paid more attention. And guess what? You were there several times I was beat to hell by the villagers. Or by our own classmates. You saw, and you did absolutely nothing. You didn't shout for help, you didn't shout at them to stop, nothing. Which, Hinata, makes you just as fucking guilty. Hinata then had tears streaming down her face. Hey Naruto, that's my wife you're talking to. Kiba said angrily to his friend. I don't give a damn. Naruto yelled out Kiba. He then pointed a finger at him and said to him, you were there also a few times when I was beat down to the fucking ground. I even remember you helping them. It was only once or twice, but you still played a fucking part. Shikamaru, you just stood by and fucking watched. Sasuke, you had to go all fucking emo and betray the fucking village and practically force me to promise Sakura that I would bring you back. You stabbed me in the chest, almost killed me several times. And finally, you, Kakashi. Kakashi could only close his eyes and slowly lower his head, he knew full well what he was guilty of. You knew who my parents were, the one thing I wanted to know more than anything else. Naruto yelled at him. You knew how much it literally eating away at my very fucking soul, how much it meant to me, and yet you just sat there and watched me fucking suffer. And then, on top of everything else, when it came down to our training right before the Chunin exams, you fucking ditched me, for that asshole right there. The only reason I won against Neji is because I absolutely refused to lose. I was sick and tired of everyone beating down on me every fucking chance they got. Now, you all tell me this. Why the fuck should I not leave the damn village? Naruto flipped them all off and walked in the other direction, away from everyone and more towards the forest while yelling out to the air, I've always been alone. Me. Just me, all the fucking time. No wonder why I went fucking crazy. Fuck everyone, fuck all of you. I know the moment I choose to trust someone from that damn place, I'll be hurt again. That's why I cut my emotions off for good. No emotion, no pain. That was when he disappeared into the thick forest. The Earth Realm team, Mac, Mileena, Kakashi, Sasuke, Shikamaru, Kiba, Akamaru, Hinata, and Ino were all shocked about his display. Is this true? Mileena asked coldly. Mac subtly read their minds and looked at Mileena and told her, Mileena Kanam, it is true. What Naruto just said is indeed true. Mileena looked back at the Konoha group and said to them, well, I can honestly say that you all are absolute monsters. Hey, Ino yelled out to her. I am not a monster. Who are you to say? Mileena retorted. You heard everything he just said. Mac confirmed it, and you admitted to it. You all caused his pain. How are you not monsters? I have never betrayed any of my own. She pulled down her mask and showed them her beautiful, full lips, just begging for a kiss, and her Tarkatan teeth on either side. MX look, just in case you didn't know. Everyone but Sasuke and Kakashi was shocked as Mileena said to them, I may not be completely human, but I am no monster. Mileena put her mask back on and said, Ermac, follow me. We need to find Naruto and make sure he's okay. We're coming with you, Cassie said, finally able to find her voice. She couldn't believe these people from Konoha did that to Naruto. We wanna help you out, Empress. Hold up, Takeda said to Cassie. Should looked at him a little confused as he walked up to Kakashi and told him, I am Takeda Takahashi. I am a member of the Shirai Ryu ninja clan, and my master is Hanzo Hazashi, also known as Scorpion. He is not the most pleasant of people I've met, but his sense of honor and loyalty are second to none. That is what you guys need. Hey kid, Kiba was about to say, but Takeda interrupted him saying. I know what you're gonna say, he told him, that you are loyal to your village and leader and whatnot. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about to each other, to your friends, to your teammates. One is there for everyone, and everyone is there for the one. But we are there for our friends and our teammates. Ino exclaimed. Takeda simply walked up to her face and stared her straight in the eyes as he pointed a finger out into the forest and told her, you forgot one. He turned and walked with the rest of his team into the thick of the forest, joining in the search for the black-clad sage. Naruto was high up in a tree, sitting on a particularly thick branch, leaning his back up against the trunk and staring off into space. He had had enough of his so-called friends say that they were innocent when they knew full well what the hell they partook in. He sensed Mileena and Ermac not too far away. He looked down to his right and sure enough, there stood Mileena, looking around for him. Apparently, Ermac either saw him or sensed him, because he saw Ermac pointing at him, making Mileena look up at him as well. Seeing he was spotted, he decided to jump down and join them on the ground. He swung his legs over the branch he was on and scooted himself off of the tree limb and began his descent to the ground. Once he landed, he looked over at the two outworlders and stood up straight. What? He asked simply. I want to help you, Naruto, Mileena told him. You wish to strengthen Outworld, we will aid you in your conquest, Ermac told Naruto. Did the others follow you? Naruto asked them. Cassie, Jackie, Jin, and Takeda came up behind Ermac and Cassie said, just us. Screw those other guys, especially after what we just heard. Hey, Naruto, for what it's worth, I'm sorry you went through all of that, Takeda said to Naruto. That wasn't even a quarter of everything I had to deal with, Naruto said but waved it off. It doesn't matter. What's done is done. The mission continues, Mileena. Objectives are to get you back on your throne and you guys back to your home. And what about you man? Jin said, sounding sincere for once. Naruto just shook his head. I really don't care. Cassie said that Kotal Khan has the amulet, Sonya told her superior. How is this possible? The person said to Sonya Blade. She was supposed to retrieve it from Mileena. And she did, Sonya told him. But she was double-crossed by Kotal Khan. He had them locked up, but then got free. Also, she said that someone apparently rescued Mileena, but from what I understand, poses no threat against them. As far as I know, Mileena is still alive, Kotal Khan has the amulet, and Cassie and her team are still in Outworld continuing their mission. You didn't bring them back for more supplies or maybe reinforcements? The person asked Sonya. A little flustered, she said, well, no. I was upset at her for failing the most crucial part in the miss. It does not matter Sonya Blade. The man said angrily. You know full well that one cannot complete their mission successfully if unprepared. Cassie did her best, as well as her team, and were tricked by a very clever man. It is not her fault. I am going to Outworld and retrieving them. He began to walk away from the encampment he had met Sonya in as she said to him, wait a minute, your powers are severely weak in Outworld. What are you doing? Raiden turned to her and said, recovering your daughter, like you should have already done. He held up his hand and disappeared in a flash of lightning. We need to go back to Konoha, Ino said to everyone. We need to resupply, regroup, and redeploy. We can't leave Naruto out here. Yeah, Kiba agreed. Honestly I feel terrible, I never thought of everything in the past. Apparently it did more than we thought it would. We abandoned him before, I won't let it happen again. I agree, Kakashi said, nodding his head. He turned to Sasuke and said to him, can you create a portal for us, Sasuke? We need more help if we're gonna do this. We can't leave Naruto here, Sasuke said simply. We're not, Kakashi told him. We are going back to get more supplies and more reinforcements. I am not leaving him behind, you have my word on that. Sasuke nodded his head and turned his back to the group. His chakra flared as his left eye opened wide, opening a portal looking like a purple and black abyss, saying, let's go. One by one, they all jumped through the portal back to Konoha. Sasuke was the last one to leave, the portal closing behind him as he went through. On the other side of the portal, the Konoha team came out through the portal created by Sasuke and into the Hokage Tower. Tsunade stood up quickly as she looked at them and said in a worried tone, did you find him? Kakashi stepped forward and said to the Sannin, yes, Tsunade. We found him, but he's still in a place called Outworld. Apparently he is on a self-imposed mission to restore a woman named Mileena to her throne and to get another small group of people back to their corresponding home world. What world are they from? Tsunade asked. Kakashi. The team I'm talking about is from a place called Earth Realm, he told her. Ah, Earth Realm, Tsunade exclaimed. You know of this place? Sasuke asked Tsunade. Of course I do, Tsunade said with a smiling face. Do you have any idea how huge their casinos are? Ooh, man, unfortunately I always lost. As usual. Then maybe you should come with us, Kiba said aloud. We are here to get some more supplies and reinforcements and then we're out at Outworld again. Wait, how did you even know about Earth Realm to begin with? Ino asked her. Ino dear, when you have traveled as much as I have, drank as much as I have, run away for as long as I have, you tend to find new places. I met someone named Sonya Blade. She was on a drinking binge, much like I was one day out in Tanzuki Town, I think that's the place it was called. You know the place where Naruto and Jiraiya found Tsunade. If that's not correct please let me know. She was there with her partner, Jax. They both were drinking heavily and laughing, talking about old times and apparently having a shot challenge. I challenged them to a drinking contest and, naturally, I won. Those lightweights couldn't handle their liquor against me, ha ha ha. Anyways, they took me back to Earth Realm through one of their portals. Why were they here at all? Shikamaru asked her. They were celebrating a hard-fought war against something named Netherrealm, another world of demons or something like that, Tsunade explained to the Shadow Wielder. So, you went back to this Earth Realm and then what? Kiba asked. Just drank and drank and drank some more, then drank some more after that, she said. She sighed and then said, that was fun. Sonya was a cool woman. And Jax was pretty cool, but pretty cheesy now that I think about it. Either way, Kakashi said to her, we could really use your help. Please come with us, and anyone else you feel would be useful in our conquest to help Naruto in his own mission as well as getting him back home. Tsunade nodded and snapped her fingers. 4 Anbu appeared in front of her and she said to them, get me Shino Aburame, Sakura Haruno, Hanabi Hyuga, and Choji Akamaiki immediately, as well as the 2 elders. Hi. The 4 Anbu said simultaneously before they disappeared. About 10 minutes later, everyone who was summoned appeared in front of the 5th Hokage. Elders, Tsunade began, you two will be running the village for an indefinite period of time while Kakashi and his current team, myself and my team of Hanabi, Shino, Choji, and Sakura go out search for Naruto. The Anbu commander will run the shinobi side while you two handle the civilian side of the village. This is to remain so until we return. Are there any questions? No one answered, so Tsunade nodded and said to Sasuke, Sasuke Uchiha, can you create a portal that leads us directly to Naruto? Sasuke nodded his head and said to her, I can create one that is within 50 yards of his location. Is that the closest you can get us? Tsunade asked him. Yes Lady Tsunade. Sasuke replied. That will have to do then, Tsunade said. She went to a wide chest on one side of the room and opened it. It contained at least 50 scrolls, each one looking the same as the last. She then turned to look at everyone and said to them, each of you grab 2 scrolls each. These are storage scrolls, each one containing 3 months' worth of food and supplies for an emergency mission. Take these and be ready to go. One by one, each of the shinobi about to depart on the mission grabbed 2 scrolls. Tsunade, being the last one to grab her 2 scrolls, stuffed them inside of her green jacket and closed the chest and locked it. She then stood up and faced Sasuke and said, "Sasuke. Uchiha, create the portal." "Hi." Sasuke turned towards one of the walls and once again his chakra flared as he created the portal, leading as close to Naruto's position as he could possibly get. "It's ready," he said to everyone. "Move out," Tsunade ordered. One by one, Kakashi, Kiba, Akamaru, Shikamaru, Choji, Shino, Sakura, Hinata, Hanabi, Ino, and Tsunade herself went through the portal. Sasuke entered last, the portal once again closing behind him. Training. In the middle of the forest in Outworld, Naruto, Mileena, Ermac, Cassie, Jackie, Takeda, and Kung Jin were standing in front of the wooden house that Naruto had just created, using his wood jutsu. Naruto stood aside holding open the door as they all walked in. Before he closed the door, he created 50 clones and sent them out to secure the outermost perimeter. After he did that, he created 20 more to surround the wooden house 50 yards out surrounding the house, giving the house 2 full circles of clone security. There was no way anyone was going to get close to them without him knowing about it first, and would also know if they were in the first circle or the second, giving him a very clear idea as to how far away they were, whoever the possible threat was. Hopefully, there wouldn't be any, but one can never be too prepared. Before he went inside, he created 1 more clone with a little more chakra than the rest and said, "Go to the area where the battle was and seal the heads of the beast and the girl. Afterwards, burn the bodies and bring the sealed heads back to me." "You got it, boss," the clone said before it took off via Shunshin. Naruto went inside the wooden house, closing the door behind him. Once inside, he turned to everyone inside and said to them all, "Alright, listen up. We are going to rest for tonight and then head on out tomorrow morning. Ermac, what information do you have against Kotal Khan? Anything helps." Ermac nodded as he said to Naruto, "We know that he only intends to unite Outworld for it to stand strong against its enemies. He does not rule with an iron will, he is actually very just. His only thorn in his side is Mileena, who wants to rule once more." "And I will," Mileena exclaimed. "You will," Naruto agreed, "but not before you have had the proper training in your attitude and demeanor. That can make all the difference when it comes to ruling. Even a terrible ruler with a good attitude will last longer than a good ruler with a bad attitude. Patience, Mileena, patience. So how are we going to go about this?" Kung Jin asked Naruto. "We don't have a device or anything that can transport us back and I'm pretty sure you don't either." "I don't," Naruto agreed, "but Kotal Khan does, I'm sure." "Are you saying that you plan on getting through to Kotal Khan's resources to use his stuff right in front of him?" Takeda said to Naruto. "I am a ninja," Naruto told Takeda. "So am I," Takeda told him, "and so is Scorpion, but I'm sure not even he would just charge into Kotal Khan's hands. That's a suicide mission. Whoever said that I was charging in?" Naruto asked him. Suddenly, 4 Kotal Khans walked in from the shadows from the 4 corners of the room. Everyone took a defensive stance as all 4 Khans just stopped and stared at them all. After a moment, they burst into smoke. "During our conversation," Naruto told everyone, "I made 4 shadow clones and sent them to each of the 4 corners. Once they were there, I had them all henge into Kotal Khan. That was almost 10 minutes ago. But you never did anything or said anything," Jackie pointed out. "How did you even do that without us knowing anything?" Naruto simple said to her, "I'm a ninja." "Okay, I see your point," Takeda said to Naruto, "but that still doesn't quite explain how you plan on getting us back and fending off Kotal Khan's entire army at the same time." Naruto then received memories from one of his shadow clones from the inner circle of clones as he told them all inside, "We have company. It's the Konoha guys again. This time though, they have Tsunade with them as well as a few others." "Hey," Cassie said to Naruto. "Did you just say Tsunade?" "Yeah, why?" Naruto asked her. "Does she have blonde hair tied into 2 ponytails and have huge tits?" Cassie asked him. Naruto couldn't help but slightly chuckle at the girl's bluntness and said, "Yeah, that's her." "How'd you know?" "My mom used to drink with her a while ago, before I was born," Cassie told him. "She told me stories about her and her friend Jax, and at some point told me about this, Tsunade. chick with, as she said to me, breasts that could make even a gay man straight. Ha ha ha, that was pretty funny. I'd love to have tits like that, you know. I would too, Jackie said to her friend. She slightly squeezed her boobs together and said, still, I got a pair of D's, so I'm good. Lucky you, Cassie said. She pointed at her own and said to Jackie, I've only got a B cup. Not fair. Man, I can get used to this, Takeda said, looking between the two girls. Talking about boobs, not a bad thing to talk about, am I right? Both of you fall short compared to me, mileena said to the two Earth Realm women. I have, according to you Earth Realmers, what you would call a double D. I am proud of them too, I might add. She then looked at Naruto and with a sexy voice she said to him, I know Naruto likes them for sure. They all heard a loud knock at the door and a voice say out loud from the other side, Naruto. I know you're in there. It's me, Sakura. Let us in. It didn't take a genius to tell that Naruto was frustrated and just overly pissed off at the people from his home village. Mileena looked at him and honestly, in spite of her aggressive Tarkatan blood flowing through her, just wanted to give the man a hug and hold him. Naruto opened the door none too gently and said briskly, get in. Sakura, taken aback by his attitude, slowly walked in. Naruto looked behind her to see if there was anyone else, but clearly they had just sent her. At least for the time being, the rest of them were standing back to gauge his reactions. Naruto, Sakura began, how come you haven't gone back home yet? Because I still have a mission to do, Naruto responded to her as he closed the door. What mission? Sakura asked him. Lady Tsunade never assigned you a mission here in Outworld. That's right, Sakura, Naruto responded. She didn't, I took this mission upon myself. Why? Sakura asked him. Because it's the right thing to do, Naruto responded to her incredulously, like she should have known that from the beginning. If you have a choice to something right, then you should take it without hesitation. That's what it did. But you need to come back home, Sakura said to him, clasping her hands in front of her. She walked a little closer saying, you need to come back home. You need to come back to me. Naruto stopped all movement and stared at her. After a few moments, his eyebrows furrowed and his eyes narrowed as he said to her in barely contained anger, did you really think that that stupid little line that you probably rehearsed would actually work, Sakura? That you could have used my past feelings for you against me? Seeing the slightly surprised look on her face only confirmed his thoughts, and, also seeing her crestfallen look, could also see that she really thought that it would work too. I absolutely can't fucking believe this, Naruto said to her. You, my own teammate, actually were trying to use my own feelings towards you as a weapon to convince me to do what you wanted. Fuck you. There's the door. But Naruto, why did you leave us in the first place? Sakura said aloud before anything else could be done. I already said it once, Naruto said. In knowing you and your stupid thick-headedness, you probably won't even pay any attention. Just like you never paid any attention to me back when we were kids, in the academy, and especially once you really did get Sasuke back. Which was, I might add, due to me bringing him back, and you still to this day have yet to thank me for it. Geez, fuck you, Sakura. You used me from day one. I'm sorry. Sakura blurted out. No you're not, Naruto said to her, waving his hand in dismissal. You know what though? You said you wanted to know why I don't want to return to Konoha, right? Sakura nodded her head. Yes, I really do. It's your home. It's your home, Sakura. Naruto yelled at her. It was my own personal torture chamber. Never mind that though. You said you wanted to know why, I will gladly show you why. Ermac, the being comprised of 10,000 souls or more, walked up to Naruto and stopped by his side and said to him, Ermac, are you able to transfer memories and feelings from one person to another? We are able, Ermac said to him. Good. I would like you to recover all of my memories, and the feelings that went along with them, and transfer them to Sakura. Naruto, looking at Sakura and told her, after you see this, Sakura, you may wanna abandon the village too. Get ready. Sakura nodded her head, face showing her determination. Ermac placed one of his ghastly-looking hands on top of Naruto's head and his hand glowed a bright green. Ermac's eyes also glowed bright green throughout the duration of the memory absorption. After about a minute, the glowing stopped. Ermac quickly transferred his hand from Naruto's head onto the top of Sakura's head and his hand once again started glowing a bright green. Immediately, Sakura's body stiffened very painfully. She winced a lot, body jerking as if she was having a terrible nightmare in her sleep and could not wake up. Her mouth opened wide in a silent scream several times, and she was trying to breathe, but for some reason had serious trouble getting the air in her lungs. Her eyes opened wide as she fell to her knees, Ermic's hand still on her head, transferring the memories and feelings associated with them all. About a minute later, Ermic's hand, to Sakura's relief, removed itself from her head. Her body fell forward, her hands stopping her fall as she sat there on all fours, shaking uncontrollably from the pain, anger, loneliness, betrayal, and everything else that Naruto had ever felt and experienced until this very moment in time. Sakura began crying silently as she sat on her haunches and hugged herself and rocked back and forth slowly. Despite her hugging herself, she still shook violently. "Now do you see?" Naruto asked her. "You were lucky, experiencing it like that." Sakura looked up at him, still shaking, and said to him in a light whisper, "How am I lucky? You got it all at once, it's done and over with," Naruto told her. He looked down at her and said to her, "Imagine all of that dragged out throughout your life, on top of no one ever being there for you. You had your parents and your friends. I had no one, literally. It wasn't until I was 13 that Iruka-sensei was finally on my side. Yes, you are lucky, Sakura. Now you know why I don't want to return to the village." Sakura could only look ahead blankly. She finally understood what the pain her former teammate had gone through. And she felt horribly guilty. All of the times she had dumped him violently. All of the times she, unintentionally or not, had him put his life on the line for her because she was too scared. Asked him to throw his life away to bring back her precious Sasuke. Which, even to this very moment, she still hadn't thanked him for it. She felt terrible. I am sore," Sakura tried to say before Naruto cut her off immediately, saying. "No," he said abruptly. "I don't want to hear an apology from you that was practically forced. All I ask is that you understand. Which you do now to some degree. Now get the fuck out of here. If any of you want to talk to me, I will only talk to Lady Tsunade. Out of the entire damn village, she was the only one there for me. Get out, Sakura. Now." He turned his back on her and walked towards the center of his wooden house that he had created and sat down. He made a snake hand sign and a small pile of wood formed in the middle of the room. Performing a small fire jutsu, he made another little campfire similar to the other one he had made earlier before the sneak attack by Ermac, Farah and Tor. Sakura just stared at him. Black mask, red scarf. Long sword on the back, sword belt on the chest. Shiny black shoulder pad on his left side with a red cloth hanging from it with the kanji for 9 on it. Orange sash and black cargo pants with a large weapons pouch on either leg. Red armored gauntlets with sharpened fingers in the form of a fox claw. Red armored greaves with pointed claws where the toes are. Blue eyes that were once bright, blue, full of life and vigor. Now dull and damn near lifeless. A complete turnaround from the orange-loving idiot that she once knew. Was everything that she had known about him a lie? Or a cover-up? Or had he really just changed, and everything caught up to him after the war? Sakura couldn't tell. One thing she did know though, as far as she was concerned, the orange-loving, ramen-loving idiot that once always chased after hand was officially dead, replaced by this man who was haunted by the ghosts of his past. Sakura shakily stood up and said under her breath, "I'm sorry, Naruto." She turned towards the wooden door and slowly walked out. But before she closed it behind her, she looked up and said to him, "Thank you, Naruto. For everything." His back toward her, he never even bothered to respond as the door closed. Naruto let out a breath he didn't know he was holding when the door closed. He just stared into the fire, the light from the flames dancing across his face. Mileena walked up behind him and placed a tender hand on his shoulder and said, "I am sorry for your suffering." Naruto didn't respond. Continuing to stare in the flames, Jackie couldn't help but let a tear slide down her face. She quickly wiped it away, not wanting anyone to see. Unfortunately for her, Cassie saw it. Placing a hand on her friend's shoulder, Jackie looked and was surprised to see a few tears come from Cassie as well. "We gotta help this guy," Jackie said to her friend and superior. "I know," Cassie told her. "And we will. We need to get home first and get debriefed though. Takeda sat down next to Naruto and held out his hand. Naruto, only moving his eyes, looked at the offered hand. I don't wanna just be someone you need to escort home, Naruto, Takeda said to him. If you'll allow it, I would like to be your friend. Truly good people are pretty hard to find these days. Naruto looked at the hand, unsure of himself. Suddenly, he stood up and walked away. Hey, Takeda said and stood up. He walked to Naruto and said to him, you know you could have just said no. No, Naruto said simply, staring at the wall with his arms crossed. The entire duration, his stare was blank. Takeda looked at Naruto and got an idea. Taking a few steps back, he put a couple of fingers to his head and concentrated. He was surprised to hear the thoughts of his blonde escort. No emotion, no pain, no emotion, no pain, no emotion, no pain, no emotion, no pain, no emotion, no pain. Lowering his hand, he slowly shook his head at the misfortune his fellow ninja had gone through. He just walked back to his superior and his crush and sat next to them. Kung Jin soon followed. What's up, Tak? Jackie asked him quietly. He's bad, Takeda said to his crush. Just the same thought, over and over. I don't know what to do. I don't either, Cassie said to him quietly. All we can do for the time being is just to get home and see what we can do from there. I agree, Jackie said. Me too, Jin said. Besides, I think it's time for us to get some shut-eye. Good night, guys. Night, Takeda said to his friend. The two girls simply nodded their heads as they also laid down to rest. Ermac was sitting next to Mileena, who was also laying down, asleep. Ermac looked asleep to Naruto, but he couldn't tell. He honestly didn't care. He just went back to the fire and sat down, on the opposite side of everyone else. Staring at the flames, he let his only real thought burn away as he slowly faded into sleep as well, with one eye always open. Ellipsis. What happened? Ino asked her friend. Tsunade, Sasuke, Kiba, Shikamaru, Kakashi, Shino, Choji, Hinata, and Hanabi stared at her in earnest. Sakura just looked at her friend sadly, tears beginning to well up in her eyes, even after crying all the way back to their hiding area. She thought she was done crying, apparently she wasn't. Sakura tried to get out, but then she just started to bawl like a baby then. Ino held her close and began rubbing her back, whispering comforting words to her best friend. What happened, Sakura? She asked her. He showed me, Sakura told her. I saw it, I felt it. Felt what, Sakura? Choji asked her. Everything. Sakura suddenly burst out. I felt everything. And I caused a huge portion of it. His pain. Oh God. Sakura fell to her knees and cried in her hands uncontrollably. Tsunade walked up to her student and said to her, Sakura, what do you mean, he showed it to you? He had some weird person come up and transfer his memories and feelings to me, she explained to her master. From the moment of his birth, from his early childhood years, throughout his teen years, through the war, everything. I felt it all, Lady Tsunade. Help me, please. Help him. Help Naruto. She resumed crying in her hands. Tsunade could only look at Kakashi, who could only share her somber expression. Apparently everything was worse than they thought, far worse. So he didn't just choose to abandon the village right off the bat, Tsunade said to the Hokage who had succeeded her. No, Kakashi agreed, but it looks like it had developed into that. Honestly, I can't blame him one bit. I can't either, Tsunade told him, but village rules are village rules. If he does really desert, he will be labeled as a missing nin, and I really don't want that. We need to bring him back. I'm sorry, Hanabi said, stepping forward to the two and said to them, Lord Sixth, why are we even bothering with Naruto? I mean, I know he saved the world and all, but why bother with him if chooses to go off the deep end? How dare you? Tsunade said, snapping. She stood up and smacked Hanabi across the face and pointed at the shocked girl, holding her cheek that was now a beet red. You listen to me here, you little brat bitch. Tsunade yelled at Hanabi. It's because of snobby little people like you who can't look beyond their own damned noses that Naruto is the way he is now. The only reason I called OFRU in this mission is because we could use two Byakugan users, so one can rest while the other is active. I swear, Hinata is the only damned Hyuga worth a damn. Now you will get your damned attitude straight right now, Or you will see exactly why I was named both Sannin and Hokage, do you understand me? Hanabi visibly and audibly gulped as she slowly nodded her head. She had never seen Lady Tsunade that angry before, and she was a very patient woman. She may have gotten aggravated here and there, but never outright pissed off. The fact that Tsunade acted like that towards her really was a blow to her ego. Sometimes I wish I could just burn that damned village, Tsunade said out loud. Narrowing her eyes, she said, all right, that's it. Everyone stand up and let's go. As everyone stood up, Kiba asked her, although cautiously, where are we going, Lady Tsunade? Even though she wasn't Hokage anymore, Kiba thought it was best to use her title nonetheless, just to be on the safe side. We're going to see Naruto. Ellipsis. A flash of lightning appeared right in front of the wooden house. Raiden turned around and faced the door and walked to it. But before he could open it, he heard a pop of smoke behind him. He turned around once more to face the possible threat. What stood before him was a young ninja, clad mostly in black, with a long red scarf, red armored gauntlets with sharpened claws and red armored greaves with sharpened talons, and a long sword on his back. Who are you and what do you want? The person asked Raiden. I am Raiden, protector of Earth Realm, Raiden answered the stranger. The stranger's eyes widened for a second, and then he said to him, Raiden, the god of thunder. That is correct, Raiden responded. By how do you know me, may I ask? From Mileena, the stranger said to him. Raiden narrowed his eyes and said to the stranger, you are an ally of Mileena, then you are an enemy to me, and to Earth Realm. Hang on a second, the stranger said. I do not wish to fight you. From my understanding, things were a little different from what they are now. Things have changed, Lord Raiden, the stranger said to him. How so? Raiden asked the stranger. How do I know you are not a threat to me directly? You are a ninja, deception are your greatest of weapons. I will not be fooled. What do I need to do to convince you that I am not a threat to you, Lord Raiden? The stranger said to him. The stranger unbuckled his sword strap and threw his weapon at the god's feet. He then lowered his mask, revealing his 3 whisker marks on each cheek. He also removed his gauntlets with the claws on them and threw those at the god's feet as well, free from all of his weapons aside from the talons on his armored greaves. He kneeled in front of the god of thunder and lowered his head, saying, My name is Naruto Uzumaki. I am originally from a village from the elemental nations called Konohagakure no Sato, or Konoha for short. I am also the Toad Sage of Mount Myoboku. The Toad Sage? Raiden interrupted. I thought that Jiraiya of the Sannin was the Toad Sage of Mount Myoboku. Sadly, Naruto said to Raiden, he was, and he was also my sensei. He was killed by a group known as the Akatsuki. I became the Toad Sage shortly after. I do not believe that you are the Toad Sage, Raiden said to Naruto. Jiraiya of the Sannin could not completely master Sage mode, and he was an incredible shinobi. I do not believe that a young man such as yourself could master it, let alone attempt it at all. Still kneeling, Naruto said to Raiden, if you will allow me, Lord Raiden, I will demonstrate my Sage mode transformation. Normally, Raiden would not allow someone to become more powerful and overpower him, whether they could or not didn't matter. However, this Naruto was calm and collective and respectful the entire duration of the conversation. Narrowing his eyes, he said to him and said to Naruto, very well, demonstrate your ability. However, be warned. Raiden held up one hand and a huge bolt of lightning struck his hand and Raiden seemed to hold the powerful element in his hand as it transformed into a sporadic ball of barely contained electricity and said, if you try anything, Naruto Uzumaki, you will not survive. I am fully aware of this, Lord Raiden, Naruto said, sitting down, and thank you for allowing me this opportunity. Closing his eyes and remaining completely still, Naruto began to absorb the essence that was nature energy. After about 30 seconds, Raiden could clearly see the oval-shaped orange markings appear around Naruto's eyes. Naruto opened them, and the toad-like iris was also clear as day. Naruto slowly stood up, obviously in Sage mode, and bowed to Raiden, saying, I hope this is proof enough, Lord Raiden. Fugaku Jiji taught me himself. Raiden, able to see that this 20-year-old boy indeed the Toad Sage, was quite surprised at this turn of events. Lowering his hand and disabling the lightning, he said to Naruto, very well, Naruto Uzumaki, you have me convinced that you are who you say you are. However, how has the situation changed, as you so claim? Mileena has officially changed, Naruto explained to Raiden. Not meaning to brag, but I am the one responsible for the change. You see, what happened was. Naruto explained what had happened from the moment he was accidentally thrown into his friend's portal to the moment they are in now. Raiden, now understanding where this sage is coming from, says to him, okay, I understand. But, my priority is the safety and security of Earth Realm. How do I know that this change, having Mileena as Kanam once more with Kotal Khan as one of her top advisors, not endanger Earth Realm, or simply go back to what we are in now? We can't, Naruto said. But what's the point in not trying when you have a shot for peace, for everyone involved? I understand, Raiden said to him. Now what are you asking me? Actually it's quite simple, Lord Raiden, Naruto told the God of Thunder. He once again kneeled and said to him, I need to eventually face off against Kotal Khan, and my lightning ability is the only one that I lack full control of. I request that you train me in the art of controlling lightning. Thinking, Raiden said to Naruto, and if I did train you in wielding lightning, what would you do with it, Naruto Uzumaki? Without hesitation, Naruto responded with, to protect those closest to me and those who cannot defend themselves, Lord Raiden. Raiden couldn't help but smirk to himself. It was very often that a teacher walked around and found someone who didn't want power for themselves. Raiden walked to Naruto and said, Rise, Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto stood in front of the God of Thunder as he said to him, Naruto, I hereby accept you as my apprentice in wielding lightning. First I need you to show me what you can do as far actually using it. Naruto nodded and took a few steps back and, performing a few hand signs, created his own version of Kakashi's Chidori, it looking like lightning with more of a Rasengan shape. Naruto struggled to hold it, but it soon became too much and blew up in his hand, sending Naruto flying back and hitting a tree. Naruto stood up and said out loud, fuck that hurt. Raiden studied this and immediately found out the problem and told Naruto, come here Uzumaki. Naruto slightly limped as he walked to Raiden. Reaching down, a small and gentle stream of electricity came from Raiden's hand and reached Naruto's legs, healing him. As he was healing him, Raiden explained, you have the actual creation and maintaining of the lightning correct. The problem is its containment. So I'm not holding it correctly or something? Naruto asked. Finished healing his apprentice's legs, he said to Naruto, no. You do not contain lightning, it is impossible. What do you mean? I just saw you holding a ball of lightning in your hand a few minutes ago. That is what you perceive, Raiden said to him, but that is not what is actually happening. Tell me, Naruto, what exactly is lightning? Lightning is a form of raw electricity. Correct. Now, do you contain electricity, Naruto Uzumaki? No, it has to go somewhere or do something, it follows the easiest path. That is absolutely correct. So tell me, why are you trying to contain it? Raiden asked. Because it's a jutsu, Naruto answered. If you let a jutsu go haywire, it will damage the user as well as the target, maybe even more so. With other elements, that is true, Raiden agreed. However, electricity is completely different from the others, as I'm sure you have noticed. You must guide it, allow it to somewhat flow through your body, with the actual electricity that is in your hand or whatever other form it takes as the main source. If you do this, you can wield an untold amount of lightning in the palm of your hand. Watch closely, Naruto. Naruto watched as Raiden opened his hand. A ball of lightning suddenly appeared from thin air. As he looked closer though, he could vaguely see small and thin strands of electricity going through Raiden's body. Now you do the same, Naruto, Raiden directed. Naruto nodded and performed a few hand signs and a Chidori appeared in Naruto's hands. Still in Sage mode, the lightning jutsu was 3 times as big as normal. Closing his eyes and concentrating, Naruto was able to slowly feel the electricity flow through his arm and back down into the actual jutsu itself. Feeling himself begin to lose control, he gritted his teeth and threw his arm to the side towards the forest, launching the jutsu like a lightning cannon. The lightning jutsu, in mid-flight, took the shape of a giant and narrow arrowhead right before it hit a tree. Think of Sasuke's, Indra's arrow, attack. The tree exploded into hundreds of little pieces, each and every one covered in electricity. As the parts of the tree fell to the ground, little sparks of electricity spread across the ground before vanishing for good. Damn, Naruto said. That was cool. Congratulations, Raiden said to Naruto. You have mastered the basic steps needed in order to wield lightning. The rest is now up to you. You actually had a very good understand of how it worked, you only needed help in that little area of the final step. From now on, it is now your own training that will further your abilities. Naruto bowed and said, "Thank you so much Lord Raiden." Just then, the door of the wooden house flew open and Cassie, Jackie, Takeda, Kung Jin, Ermac, and mileena came out and were at the ready, weapons and abilities ready to attack whoever the attacker was. Seeing that it was just Naruto, they calmed down. "Raiden," Cassie said, relieved to see that it was just him. She walked up, putting her guns away and said, "What are you doing here?" "I am here to retrieve you and your team," he said to her, "something your ignorant mother should have done long ago." Cassie relaxed and said, "Thank you. I don't know why she did that, but whatever. When can we go?" "Right now would be best," Raiden said to her. "Alright, let's go you guys," Cassie ordered. Takeda, Jin, and Jackie got up to her and Raiden, but Jackie said to Raiden, "Hey Raiden, we need to help Naruto too." "I am aware," Raiden said to her. "But first we must get you home." Turning to face Naruto, Raiden said, "I will return shortly. For now, stay here." Naruto nodded his understanding. Raiden raised his hand and in a flash of lightning, Raiden and the Earth Realm team had disappeared. Thank for listening. I do hope you enjoy. If you guys enjoyed, if you want the next part of this video, like, subscribe and comment down below and turn on the bell notifications, and also check out the other videos that L have created and enjoy. See you in the next video. Peace.